pleasure that I declare the second Mersey tunnel open and name it Kingsway.
The Mersey, lifeblood of the city. It's the reason Liverpool exists, and because of it, the city has grown into one of the world's major urban areas. But at the turn of the 19th century, the river itself was becoming a barrier to the functioning of the city. Contact with Wirral, just a few hundred yards across the water, was only possible through ferries or via the 1885 railway tunnel. And as queues of lorries and cars built up on either side of the river, it was obvious that the famous ferries wouldn't be able to cope with the demand for much longer. On considering how best to overcome this problem, a high-level bridge was considered, but eventually dismissed, as it was felt that with Liverpool's importance, such a structure could become an easy target in event of possible war. Instead, the decision to build the largest road tunnel in the UK at the time was made. It was literally groundbreaking, presenting challenges to the best engineering minds in the country. Over 1 million tonnes of rock, gravel, earth and clay was shifted. By 1934, the tunnel, now known as Queensway, was ready for its official opening by King George V.
Lancashire enthusiasm reaches a climax as Their Majesties the King and Queen arrive in Liverpool.
The whole of West Lancashire turns out solidly to roar its welcome.
The King shares the pride and pleasure of Merseyside citizens as the formal opening concludes the greatest municipal enterprise in this country.
It is a deep pleasure to us to come here today to open for the use of men a thoroughfare so great and strange as this Mersey tunnel, now made ready by your labour. I am happy to declare the Mersey tunnel open. May those who use it ever keep grateful thought of the many who struggled for long months against mud and darkness to bring it into being.
For almost 9 years, Merseyside has looked forward to this moment, the opening of the world's greatest underwater highway.
Driving through the entrance of the 3-mile tunnel, the electrical counter checks the royal car as the first vehicle to pass beneath the Mersey.
Just 20 years later, the post-war boom in car ownership and a shift towards moving goods by road meant that Queensway on its own was not going to be enough to keep up with growing demand. Arguments over what to build, a bridge or a tunnel, that had raged in the 1920s were repeated, but once again the preferred solution was to dig downwards. However, this time the laborious methods used in the construction of the first tunnel were not to be repeated, as a 350-ton tunnel boring machine, affectionately known as the mole, was used. It was the largest that had ever been seen in the country at the time. And in 1971, one tube of Liverpool's second road tunnel, Kingsway, was officially opened by Queen Elizabeth II.
May I therefore, Your Majesty, on behalf of all your peoples on Merseyside, invite you to set your royal seal on this inspiring moment in their history.
Chairman, I am delighted to be on Merseyside today, both in Liverpool and very shortly in Wallasey. The deep water of the River Mersey has been the foundation of Merseyside's growth. It has attracted shipping, encouraged trade, and helped to give Merseyside its own life and personality. My grandfather named the first Mersey tunnel Queensway in honour of Queen Mary. So, in honour of my father, it is with the greatest pleasure that I declare the second Mersey tunnel opened and name it Kingsway.
Once the mole had reached the other side of the river, it was turned round and driven through again to create the now familiar twin-tube layout. The second tube was then opened 3 years after the first in 1974. Owned and operated by Mersey Travel, Merseyside's passenger transport authority and executive, the two Mersey tunnels are now regarded as the two safest tunnels in the UK. They are a vital link across the water and are key to the economic success of the entire city region and beyond. Over 10 million vehicles a year use the older Queensway tunnel and 15 million use the more recent Kingsway. With that much traffic, it's vital to keep things moving. Problems in either tunnel can quickly lead to major congestion in Liverpool city centre. To maintain the flow and to keep